Daniel stands 3 feet away from his mother, screaming at the top of his lungs, and she doesn't even blink. She can't hear him, can't see him. Her eyes pass right through him like he's made of smoke and silence. His younger sister Emma sits beside her on the couch, scrolling through her phone, and Daniel waves his hand directly in front of her face. Nothing, not even a flicker of recognition. He grabs the remote control from the coffee table and hurls it across the room, and it crashes against the wall with a sound like breaking bone. Both of them jump, startled, looking at the remote lying on the floor, looking at each other with wide, frightened eyes. But they don't look at him. They never look at him. "How did that happen?" his mother whispers, her voice thin with fear. Emma shakes her head. "I don't know, maybe we should call someone." And Daniel realizes with a horror that makes his knees weak. They think the house is haunted. They think a ghost is throwing things. They don't know the ghost is their son, their brother, standing right in front of them, desperate and unseen. But 12 hours ago, everything was normal.
Fair African Tales. Subscribe and turn on the bell for new stories.
The morning light breaks through the curtains with the same golden warmth it always has, falling across Daniel's face in soft ribbons that smell of dust and promise. He stirs beneath his blanket, groaning at the persistent buzz of his alarm clock, that shrill electric scream that has woken him every school day for the past 3 years. His hand reaches out, slapping at the nightstand until the noise dies, and he rolls onto his back, staring at the ceiling with its familiar water stain shaped like a horse's head. Everything feels normal, ordinary, the kind of mundane Tuesday morning that passes without notice or memory. He swings his legs out of bed, his feet finding the cool wooden floor, and shuffles toward the bathroom, eyes half closed against the brightness. In the mirror, his reflection stares back, dark hair sticking up at odd angles, sleep still crusted in the corners of his brown eyes. 16 years old, average height, the kind of face that blends into crowds without effort. He splashes water on his face, brushes his teeth, runs a comb through his hair, each motion automatic, performed 1,000 times before. Downstairs, he expects to find his mother at the stove, flipping pancakes or scrambling eggs, humming along to the radio like she does every morning. The kitchen smells right, coffee and toast and something sweet. But when he rounds the corner, his mother stands frozen at the counter, her back to him, pouring orange juice into a single glass, just one glass, not 2. "Good morning, Mom," he says, his voice still rough with sleep. She doesn't turn around, doesn't acknowledge him at all. She picks up the glass, takes a sip, sets it down, and begins buttering a single piece of toast. Daniel clears his throat, louder this time. "Mom," he repeats, stepping closer. "Did you sleep okay?" Nothing. She moves past him, so close he can smell her perfume, that floral scent she's worn for as long as he can remember, but she walks right by him as if he's a ghost, as if he doesn't exist at all. She sits at the table with her toast and juice, pulls out her phone and begins scrolling through the screen with that absent expression people wear when they're alone. Daniel's heart begins to beat faster. "Mom," he says again, reaching out to touch her shoulder. His hand makes contact, solid and real, and she jolts slightly, glancing at her shoulder with a puzzled expression, rubbing at it as if brushing away a cobweb. She looks around the kitchen, her eyes passing right over him, right through him, and then she returns to her phone, shaking her head slightly. "This isn't funny," Daniel says, his voice rising. Mom, stop it. I know you can hear me, but she can't, or won't. He waves his hand in front of her face. Nothing. He knocks over the salt shaker on the table, and she looks at it, frowning, but doesn't look at him. She picks it up, sets it right, and continues eating her toast as if the salt shaker moved itself, as if these things simply happen in empty kitchens. Daniel backs away, his breath coming faster now, panic beginning to claw at his chest. This is a joke. It has to be a joke. Maybe his younger sister Emma put her up to this, one of those elaborate pranks she's always trying to pull. Emma, he calls out, heading toward the stairs. Emma, I know this is you. He takes the steps 2 at a time, bursts into her room without knocking. Emma is 13, all braces and attitude, and she's sitting on her bed with her laptop, headphones covering her ears, watching something that makes her laugh. Daniel crosses the room and pulls one headphone away from her ear. Very funny, he says. You got me. Now tell Mom to stop. Emma screams. A real scream, high and terrified, and she scrambles backward on her bed, eyes wide with fear, staring at the headphone dangling in mid-air, held by Daniel's invisible hand. Who's there? She shouts, her voice cracking. Mom, Mom, there's something in my room. Emma, it's me, it's Daniel, he says. But she's already off the bed, running past him, through him almost, like he's made of smoke. He drops the headphone, hears his mother's footsteps pounding up the stairs, and then both of them are in the room. His mother holding Emma, asking what happened, what's wrong, and Emma is crying now, saying the headphone moved by itself, saying something touched her. I'm right here, Daniel shouts, but his voice seems to echo in a space only he can hear. He's standing 3 feet away from his mother and sister, and they're looking everywhere but at him. His mother checks the windows, looks under the bed, tells Emma it's okay, probably just the wind or the house settling, and Emma nods but doesn't look convinced. Daniel stumbles out of the room, his legs weak, his mind reeling. This can't be real. This isn't possible. He goes back to his own room, slams the door, and the sound reverberates through the house, loud and violent. He hears his mother and Emma go silent downstairs. Hears his mother say, "These old houses always making noise." And then the murmur of their voices continues as if nothing extraordinary has occurred. He sits on his bed, his hands shaking, trying to make sense of this. He looks around his room, at the posters on his walls, bands he likes, movies he's watched, his desk cluttered with homework and sketch pads because he likes to draw, his bookshelf crammed with fantasy novels and graphic novels, his soccer cleats in the corner from the team he plays on, or used to play on, or thinks he plays on. Everything is here, his life is here. But he isn't, not to them. He grabs his phone from his nightstand, unlocking it with trembling fingers. He pulls up his messages, dozens of conversations with friends, with teammates, with Emma, with his parents. He opens the thread with his best friend Marcus, types out, "Something weird is happening, call me," and hits send. The message appears in the thread, blue bubble, delivered. He stares at the screen, waiting for the 3 dots that mean Marcus is typing back. Nothing. He waits 1 minute, 2, 5. Then he calls. The phone rings once, twice. Marcus picks up. "Hello," Marcus says, and Daniel nearly sobs with relief. "Marcus, thank God something's happening to me. My mum and Emma can't see me. They can't hear me. I don't know what's going on, man. I need help." There's a pause on the other end. "Hello," Marcus says again. "Is someone there?" "Marcus, it's Daniel. It's me. Can you hear me?" Another pause. "Must be a spam call," Marcus mutters, and then the line goes dead. Daniel stares at his phone, the screen showing the call lasted 18 seconds. He tries again. Same result. Marcus answers, can't hear him, hangs up. Daniel tries his other friends, Sarah, Josh, Tyler, everyone he can think of, and every single time it's the same. They answer, they can't hear him, they hang up. He opens social media, scrolling frantically through his feeds. His accounts are all there, his photos, his posts, but when he clicks on the comments, on the likes, they're all from before today. He posts something new, a desperate message. Can anyone see this? Please someone respond. And he watches as the post sits there. No likes, no comments, no reactions, as if he's posted into a void. Daniel throws his phone across the room and it clatters against the wall, falling to the floor. He buries his face in his hands, trying to breathe, trying to think. Maybe he's still asleep. Maybe this is a nightmare, one of those vivid ones that feel real until you wake up. He pinches himself, hard, until his arm is red and painful. He's awake. This is real. Whatever this is, it's real. He decides to go to school. Maybe there, surrounded by hundreds of people who know him, who see him every day. Maybe there this impossible thing will end, will reveal itself as the glitch or mistake or cosmic joke that it must be. He gets dressed, jeans and a hoodie, grabs his backpack and heads downstairs. His mother is in the living room now, talking on the phone to someone about work. He walks past her, out the front door, and she doesn't even glance up. The walk to school takes 15 minutes, the same route he's taken since freshman year. The neighborhood is quiet, trees lining the sidewalk, houses with neat lawns, and cars in driveways. A man walks his dog on the opposite side of the street, and Daniel crosses toward him, waving. "Excuse me," he calls out. The man doesn't react. The dog stops walking and stares directly at Daniel, ears perked forward, tail still. The man tugs on the leash, confused. "Come on, boy," but the dog won't move, keeps staring at Daniel with those intense brown eyes. "You can see me, can't you?" Daniel whispers, kneeling down. The dog whines, pulling toward him, and the man finally gives in, letting the dog approach. The dog sniffs at Daniel's hand, licks his fingers, and Daniel laughs, a broken sound that's half sob. "At least someone knows I'm here," he says. The man is looking at his phone now, bored, waiting for his dog to finish sniffing at apparently nothing. Daniel continues to school, the large brick building looming ahead, students streaming through the front doors in clusters and pairs, everyone talking, laughing, lost in their own worlds. He joins the flow, moving with the crowd, and immediately people jostle him, bump into him, but not in the way they normally would. They bump into him and seem surprised, looking around as if they've run into an invisible wall, shaking their heads and moving on. He walks down the hallway toward his locker, watching students pass, seeing faces he recognizes, people he's known for years, and none of them see him. At his locker, he spins the combination, muscle memory guiding his fingers, and it opens. His books are inside, his gym clothes, a photo of him and Marcus at last year's championship game, taped to the inside of the door. He stares at the photo, at himself smiling, arm around Marcus's shoulder. Both of them muddy and exhausted and happy. That was real. That happened. He exists. He has to exist. Someone slams into him from behind, hard, and he stumbles forward. "Watch it," he snaps, turning around. It's Kyle Bennett, senior football player, the kind of guy who thinks the hallways belong to him. But Kyle isn't looking at Daniel. He's looking at Daniel's open locker with confusion. "How did that open?" Kyle says to his friend beside him. "Nobody's even there." "I'm here," Daniel shouts, shoving Kyle in the chest. Kyle stumbles back, eyes wide, and for a moment Daniel thinks maybe Kyle can feel him at least. But Kyle is looking at his own chest, at his shirt, looking around the hallway like he's searching for whatever invisible force just pushed him. "That was weird, man," Kyle says, his voice uncertain. "Did you see anything?" His friend shakes his head, and they move on, casting glances back at the locker, at the empty space where Daniel stands. The first bell rings, and Daniel goes to class like a sleepwalker, sitting in his usual seat in English, third row by the window. Miss Peterson begins taking attendance, calling names, and Daniel waits for his. She goes through the whole list. His name never comes. She marks something on her sheet and begins the lesson, talking about symbolism in the novel they're reading, and Daniel sits there, invisible, as the class continues around him. He doesn't stay for the whole period. Can't. He walks out in the middle of Miss Peterson's lecture, and she doesn't notice. Nobody notices. He wanders the empty hallways, the walls lined with lockers and bulletin boards covered in flyers for clubs and dances and events. There's a poster for the winter formal next month, and Daniel stares at it, wondering if he'll even exist by then, if anyone will remember to miss him. In the bathroom, he stands in front of the mirror. His reflection is there, solid and real, staring back at him with frightened eyes. He can see himself. Whatever this is, whatever has happened, he isn't actually invisible. He's just erased, forgotten, like someone reached into the world and plucked out every memory, every record, every acknowledgement of his existence, leaving only him behind to notice the absence. He spends the rest of the day at school like a ghost, drifting from class to class, watching his life happen without him. In chemistry, his lab partner works alone, and the teacher doesn't question why there's an empty stool. In gym, the coach divides everyone into teams, and the numbers work out evenly. No one left over, as if Daniel was never part of the count. At lunch, he sits at his usual table, and Marcus and Sarah and Josh and Tyler all sit there too, laughing, eating, talking about the game this weekend, and there's no empty seat. They fill the whole table perfectly, as if he never sat with them at all. Daniel watches Marcus, his best friend since fourth grade, and tries to remember everything they've been through together. Learning to ride bikes, building a treehouse in Marcus's backyard that collapsed the first time they tried to use it. The time they snuck out to watch a meteor shower and got caught by Daniel's dad, who wasn't even mad, just made them promise to invite him next time. Years and years of friendship, of being brothers in everything but blood, and Marcus doesn't know he exists. Daniel reaches across the table, grabs Marcus's soda, and takes a drink. Marcus looks at his soda, frowns, picks it up, examines it like it might have a leak. "Weird," Marcus says. "Could have sworn I just filled this." Daniel sets the soda down, stands up, and walks away. No one watches him go. After school, he doesn't go home, can't face his mother and Emma again, can't watch them move through the house like he's not there. Instead, he walks to the park, the one with the playground and the basketball courts and the big oak tree that's been there longer than anyone can remember. He sits on a swing, the chains creaking under his weight, and pushes himself back and forth slowly, thinking, maybe this is punishment. Maybe he did something terrible and doesn't remember, and this is karma or divine retribution, or the universe's way of showing him what it's like to not matter. He runs through his recent memories, searching for sins. He's not perfect. He's been selfish sometimes, thoughtless, said things he didn't mean, but nothing that would warrant this. Nothing that would justify being erased from existence while still having to watch it all continue without him. Or maybe it's not punishment. Maybe it's something medical, a delusion, a psychotic break, and he's really in a hospital somewhere, hooked up to machines, and this is all happening in his mind. But it feels too real, too consistent. The details are too sharp, too mundane. Crazy doesn't usually come with this much coherent continuity. Or maybe, he thinks, and this is the thought that makes his chest tighten with something like hope. Maybe this is temporary. Maybe whatever caused this will wear off, will reverse itself, and tomorrow morning he'll wake up, and his mother will be making pancakes for both of them, and Emma will be complaining about something, and everything will be back to normal. He clings to that thought as the sun begins to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and purple. He watches other people in the park, families packing up picnics, joggers finishing their routes, a group of kids playing soccer with more enthusiasm than skill. Normal life happening all around him, life he's no longer part of. When it gets dark, he goes home. The house is lit up, warm light spilling from the windows, and through the kitchen window he can see his mother and Emma eating dinner together, just the two of them. His seat at the table isn't there anymore. There are only 2 chairs now, perfectly arranged for a family of 2. Daniel goes in through the front door, climbs the stairs to his room. Everything is still here, all his things, his entire life contained in this one space. He lies down on his bed, still wearing his clothes, and stares at the ceiling. Maybe if he sleeps, when he wakes up, this will be over. Maybe sleep is the reset button. Maybe morning will bring him back. But sleep doesn't come easily. He lies awake for hours, his mind racing, cataloguing everything he's lost in a single day. His family, his friends, his place in the world, his reality. Everything that made him real to others, gone. And the worst part, the cruelest part, is that he remembers. He remembers being seen, being known, being real. He carries all those memories like ghosts, proof of what was, what should be, what isn't anymore. When he finally sleeps, his dreams are filled with voices calling his name, hands reaching for him, faces turning toward him. And when he wakes to Wednesday morning's light, for one brief, beautiful moment, he thinks it was all a nightmare. Then he goes downstairs and his mother is making breakfast for one, and he knows. This is his life now. This is what he is. The boy who exists but isn't remembered. The boy the world forgot. The boy who has to figure out how to live in a reality that has no place for him. How to matter in a world that doesn't know he's there. And standing in that kitchen, watching his mother hum a song he taught her, a song she still knows but doesn't know why, Daniel makes a decision. He won't give up. He won't fade away. If the world has forgotten him, he'll make it remember. Somehow, some way, he'll find a way to leave a mark so deep, so undeniable, that even this cruel erasure can't wipe it away. He doesn't know how yet, but he will. He has to. Because the alternative, the slow dissolution into complete nothingness, is unthinkable. He is Daniel. He exists. And he will make that mean something again, even if he has to tear down the walls of reality itself to do it.
Subscribe for more amazing African stories.